Coop here. First down.
Kadyn Proctor, what did you think of Tennessee recruiting him initially and his decision to go to Iowa, which wasn't a very strong decision because now he is looking around? Caleb, what do you make of Kadyn Proctor's path to this point?
So just to give everybody a reminder of what happened, Kadyn Proctor transferred from Alabama to Iowa, offensive lineman, was tampered with to transfer when he transferred from Alabama to Iowa. He basically said Iowa was targeting him during the season last year. And now 2 months in, as spring practice has started, Kadyn Proctor has re-entered the portal. So you asked me what I make of it. I say that somebody else has tampered and offered him more money. That's my take.
Agreed. What down? Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Should Tennessee recruit him?
I mean, yes. And here's why I say that. It ain't like Lance Hurd's that much different. He's the same type of player. He just followed the NIL money. And so if you're willing to go for Lance Hurd, you're Dante Thornton, you go for Kadyn Proctor. And I mean, I think, and not just Tennessee, I think every school around is going to recruit him. I think Alabama, I want to tell you this right now, something crazy. I think Alabama's trying to recruit him back. Honestly.
Probably are. And some of their guys are actually spending money nowadays.
Yeah. So
I'm going to say no. I would not recruit him. And here's the problem that I have, which leads us to third down.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Dave, why would you not recruit him? Okay, here's why. I don't mind a guy that chases the money once. I don't mind the Herd situation. I don't mind necessarily a guy that chases the money twice. But this is just simple, fundamental being a grown-up individual. Give it a go at Iowa. See if that's a fit. And I can guarantee you in mid-March, you don't know yet. You could still be homesick. I have a son who's going to school far away. There's homesickness. I've got a big problem, Caleb, with the fact that this guy doesn't seem to have any dedication whatsoever. The money was always going to be there for him. He could have stayed at Alabama, and once they get their ducks in a row without Saban from an NIL perspective, they're going to start paying players. He could have gotten his money based off his play this season. To me, he's chasing money without as much value because of the way he's chasing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I can't fully blame him because I don't think it's him chasing the money. I think teams are offering him the money. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to tell you the truth of what I think happened here. I think Alabama has got their NIL stuff together finally. I think we saw Kalen DeBoer got his salary. He's the top 5. He's a top 5, top 10 paid coach already in college football. And I think they gave Kadyn Proctor a call and said, hey, we got enough money to bring you back. You really like it up there in Iowa? Why don't you come back here where you know you would prefer to be?
Okay.
And I think we're going to see him say he committed to Alabama in about 2 days.
I think there's a very good chance you're right, which leads me to fourth down.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
If you're Alabama, would you take him back? And that is brought to you by our good friends at Dynasty Pools and Spas. My answer may surprise you. Caleb's going to say, I'll do a voice, come on and play because we love you and you're talented. That's the voice he makes. I've been working on that for well over a year. If you're Alabama, would you take him back? Dynasty Pools and Spas. Having the best spas made right here in the United States of America in your backyard. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Their showroom is open in Athens, right off the interstate. You can stop by and check out the best hot tubs and spas in the market. And then delivery, yes, they can do that to Knoxville or Chattanooga. They've got complete support, spa cover, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. They also have pool chemicals as well. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton, and no one will ever notice. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastypoolsandspas.com or stop by that showroom in Athens. dynastypoolsandspas.com. Dynasty Pools and Spas. All right. If you're Alabama, do you take him back? He was a highly rated prospect. There's no question about it. He's a very good player at the college level. Would you take him back?
Yes, I would. And I just want to address what you said.
Weak.
Hold on. I just want to address what you said about chasing money too. Again, you're not chasing it when people are offering you. And if coaches can do it, players can do it. Because do you remember when Manny Diaz got hired at Temple? And then before he even coached a game, Miami was like, hey, why don't you come back and take the head coaching job in Miami? Mark Richt just retired. And he was like, within a month of being hired at Temple, he said, peace, I'm going to go to Miami instead because I got hired there. Again, you follow. Show me evidence of coaches not following the money before you come at me about players following the money. I'm dead serious on that. And people will say, Nick Saban went back to Alabama because he didn't like the NFL and he wanted to coach college. Really? He said he wasn't going to be the coach at Alabama, and then Alabama offered him a record contract, and then he went back. Remember, Nick Saban didn't make that decision until he got the $8 million a year guarantee from Al Moore.
Yeah, but I think he was a college coach through and through. I think he was just leveraging for more money. I think that was a Sexton thing. I think he would have gone back for less money. I don't think he needed a record contract. Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Use the promo code HOOKED. That's HOOKED for 10% off. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com right down below. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. I think he was just looking for the best deal. Do you really think it was a money play by Nick Saban?
It seemed like it at the time. Now, I've heard the stories of how they went after him afterward, and they all seem credible. But, you could just create a fake narrative, and the real truth is Saban it's very possible Saban told Malmore no, and then Malmore was like, what if I give you $40 million, a record contract? And then Saban was like, sure, okay. I need evidence of a coach, and I'm dead serious about this. I need evidence of a coach turning down a bigger contract for whatever reason before we start talking about players. I can give you one coach I know.
I'm not even the money doesn't matter to me. I think you may be missing my point just a little bit. My point is, would you take a guy back to your program? It's tweaked a little bit in 4 Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. It's tweaked a little bit. I'll give you that. But I am not taking a guy back who has left me. No way, no how.
I think you take guys back who have left. People do that all the time with coaches. There have been coaches who left a job, went to another one, got fired, and then the school they were originally successful with hired them back. Okay, I'm from Memphis.
Don't say all the time, Caleb.
No, not all the time.
It may be a couple, 3.
By the way, 2017, during the coaching search, Dave, with Tennessee, I would have 100% hired Lane Kiffin back over Jimmy Pruitt. I don't care that he left Tennessee.
I'm not talking about coaches. I'm talking about players. They are not as impactful. I can live without you.
Yeah, but you can take players back who left you. It does happen. But think the NFL free agency. People have re-signed players who left them and then came back. Should Cleveland have not re-signed LeBron James in 2014?
Again, I'm not talking about players. You're talking about a guy
who... you did say you're talking about players.
Hold on. You're talking about a guy who changes the whole franchise. I'm talking about one player. I have integrity above that. Now, if you're telling me that you're LeBron and you're pretty much going to come in and win a championship, which he did and he got to the finals with a terrible team even before that. So you feel like he's going to really turn you into another type of contender. That's different than taking Kadyn Proctor back if you're Alabama because he decided he made a mistake. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out. I think it makes Kalen DeBoer look incredibly desperate.
Please, Nick Saban would have taken him back too.
Okay. Let me ask you a question then. Would you have taken Henry To'o back, brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs? They want to be your jeweler. If you're looking for affordable game day jewelry, how about the Fire Opals? That's a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com, RickTerryJewelry.com. Tennessee fans hated Henry To'o. They wouldn't have taken him back.
Yes, they would have.
They would have
taken him back in a heartbeat, particularly since they could have used him in the game against South Carolina when Jeremy Banks calls the rift 2 years ago. They absolutely would have taken Henry To'o back. You're crazy. Yes, I would have taken him back. I'm sorry. I would have. And by the way, Now, this is a little bit different. It's very different because it was recruiting. It's not transfer. But I do want to say, I'll just give a name real quick. Do you remember that time Brandon Warren publicly spurned Tennessee on Hound Dogs and said he's going to Florida State?
Yes.
Philip Fulmer still took Brandon Warren back. Are you saying he shouldn't have done that? After
Warren, he went for a year and played it. He played at Florida State. I mean, he committed there. He didn't come to Tennessee and then say, stick it, I'm out of here. You can take your power tee and shove it.
Kaden Proctor didn't say stick it. He got offered more money, I think.
We don't 100% know that. I mean, he could be leaving because suddenly there's not Nick Saban there. That's a very strong likelihood. Point being, I just think it makes you look weak or thirsty. Is that what the kids are saying nowadays? I just don't understand the point. Now, Joel said something. Cooper left and came back. Cooper never left. He angled for more money. Sorry?
Yeah. Cooper never left and came back, but I guess they mean Cade Mays committed to Georgia and then transferred to Tennessee. Is that what they're talking about?
Again, that's not leaving the program as a part of the program with all those secrets and all that insight and then going to a rival program. I wouldn't take Henry To'o back if I were Tennessee, and I wouldn't take Kadyn Proctor back if I were Alabama. And the question is, on the message board, would Dave take Caleb back? Well, let's hope we never have to cross that bridge. But maybe.
Okay, let's throw out
because Caleb is more like Bruce Pearl than he is Kadyn Proctor, in that he's very good and special and elite. Not that he's sketchy with authority figures. Sorry, bad analogy.
And also, I like to date women my age. Okay, sorry.
There's that. But again, you would be considered a coach in this regard because you're very important to what we do. You're not just one of 22 starters and 85 scholarships. That to me is completely different. I might have to left and wanted to come back. I might have to eat a little crow.
First of all, Dave, you also have to look at the situation. You are talking about Alabama as if they're still a factory for talent like Nick Saban. That factory just exploded, okay? If like you're talking, they're not the factory that Georgia is. I think Kalen DeBoer needs all the help he can get.
So it's okay to be desperate. It's okay in this particular situation to be thirsty.
It's okay to take, yes, because this isn't going to be the first time you deal with it. I'm sorry, until they regulate NIL, this is going to be a regular thing. And this is just the first. Kadyn Proctor is not, I'm just going to tell you this, Dave, right now. Kadyn Proctor is not going to be the craziest story of transfers within the next month and a half. You know, the spring transfer portal is about to open. Do you know how crazy that's about to get? I'm telling you, this is far from the craziest thing you're going to hear in the transfer portal in a little while. And by the way, y'all are crazy. If Tyler Barron had his head on right, Tennessee would take him back tomorrow.
No. And Travis says Gerald Mincy could write an apology letter and put it in the paper. He can kick rocks. Thank you for having some backbone on the message board. You don't need those dudes back.
Yes, you do.
Build it by yourself.
Wrong. You can't build it by yourself. Like, again, you win with players. You win with players and you take the players you can get. And I'm sorry, I've covered recruiting for so long, and Dave's covered it more than I have. This is so the feeling of when a player committed to another school. Well, they didn't want to run my team anyway. How often did you hear that one, Dave?
No. I have heard that, but this is different. They know the insides of your program. This is a retroactive spy. I don't want any part of it.
Are you one of those people that believes that like every football team is now like a battalion like in war, and they have like secrets that like, I'm sorry, there's too much transferring and coach moving going on now. Everybody knows everybody's secrets.
That's fair. But let me ask you this. Kadyn Proctor gets to Alabama. He finds himself a couple of spots down on the depth chart than where he was because, I don't know, he transferred to Iowa. Do you think he's not going to transfer again if things don't go his way in Tuscaloosa? He'll leave them again.
Okay, and then they'll just replace him. The problem is this. Here's going to be the catch. This is where the NIL will start to self-regulate. Our Alabama booster is going to give him a big NIL check when they're like, he may come and just leave us again. That's where I think Kadyn Proctor. See, this is where the market may end up working itself out, Dave. And I'm going to be honest. I think the market may end up working itself out. How long can you keep throwing money at these players before they spurn you and there's no contract sign. And you just gave a bunch of money to a player who's leaving you anyway. At some point, there's going to be more thorough contracts entered into these NIL agreements, right?
Amen to that. I mean, there has to be a 2-year contract at some point.